cash is king, is the long-held statement by certainly my tobacconist, although a former tobacconist, I don't smoke anymore. And not just I, but Claire as well, was at Raging Waters, the big giant water park in Sydney, formerly known as Wet and Wild. And one thing I noticed there was that there was absolutely no cash. You were not allowed to pay with cash. None of the billion ways to take your money would accept cash. And I found this out because I was standing behind someone at one of the many, many kiosks and blah, 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 and he innocently pulls out his wallet to try and pay for something. They said, I'm sorry, no cash. And
welcome to the end of the Australian dream. For decades, this was known as the lucky country. A place where a fair day's work earned you a fair day's pay and a house with a backyard. But look around you in 2026. That dream hasn't just faded. It's been systematically dismantled. What you just saw, the death of cash, the vanishing bank branches, is just the tip of the iceberg. While the government in Canberra talks about GDP growth and economic stability, millions of Australians are one paycheck away from homelessness. In this video, we aren't taking sides. We aren't here for the Liberals or the Labor Party. We are here for the truth. We are going to deconstruct how one of the wealthiest nations on earth became a place where working professionals are living in tents, and why your legal tender is being turned into a digital cage. This is the analysis the mainstream media won't touch. This is the reality of Australia's new era.
Every time the RBA rocked up to put up interest rates, and every time mortgage rates went up, and every time people kept paying more and more and more, being forced to pay for an inflation crisis caused by corporate price gouging, this screwed over ordinary workers. But what we always knew, and a lot of people in Australia knew, was it wasn't workers causing this inflation crisis, it was corporate price gouging. And I can't think of a better example than the market duopoly of Coles and Woolworths driving up prices and screwing over ordinary workers. Now, it's remarkable that we have an economic and political system that every time the gas corporations jacked up their prices, every time Coles and Woolworths jacked up their prices and drove the inflation crisis, the people that were punished for it were the people with mortgages and screwed over by the RBA's interest rate increases.
The contrast is staggering. On one hand, you have the corporate giants, Coles and Woolworths, reporting record-breaking profits. On the other, you have the cost of living crisis, which has become a permanent feature of Australian life. This is the Great Australian Scam. The duopoly controls 80% of the market. They tell you prices are rising because of supply chain issues, yet their margins have never been higher. But it goes deeper than just groceries. Let's talk about the housing crisis. Australia has more land than almost any nation on earth, yet we have a housing shortage that has turned Sydney and Melbourne into the most expensive cities in the world. Why? Because housing stopped being a human right and became a speculative asset class for the global elite. Now, look at the war on cash. Why are the big banks closing branches in rural towns? Why are ATMs being ripped out of shopping centres? They tell you it's convenience. The truth is control. When your money is 100% digital, every single transaction is tracked, taxed, and can be turned off. In a cashless society, the fair go is replaced by digital permission. If the bank decides they don't like your industry or your political stance, they can freeze your life with a keystroke. This is occurring at a time when tent cities are popping up in public parks from Brisbane to Perth. These aren't just vagrants. These are nurses, teachers, and tradies. People who work 40 hours a week and still can't afford a roof over their heads. When a society reaches a point where the working class cannot afford to live in the cities they build, that society is on the brink of a massive shift. We aren't here to tell you who to vote for. We are here to point out that the system itself is no longer serving the people. Whether it's the RBA raising rates on families who are already struggling, or the government pushing digital IDs, the common thread is the removal of individual autonomy. Australia is being reshaped into a corporate state hybrid where you own nothing, you pay for everything, and you must be connected to survive. They call it the lucky country. But luck has nothing to do with it. This is a design. And the only way to break the design, the question is no longer if Australia has fallen, but how we get back up. The resilience of the Australian people is legendary, but even the strongest back can break under this much pressure. We've shown you the bank closures, the supermarket scams, and the death of the Australian dream. What happens next is up to the people who actually make this country run. Not the CEOs, not the career politicians in Canberra, but the people watching this video. Are we going to accept a future where our children are permanent renters in a digital prison? Or are we going to demand a return to the fair go? Leave a comment below. We want to hear from the people on the ground. Are you seeing this in your town? Are the banks closing? Are the prices out of control? Your stories are the only thing the mainstream media can't censor. Share this video because the algorithm doesn't like the truth, but the people need it. Thank you for watching Players Unlimited. We'll see you in the next analysis.